Hi guys, welcome back to another video where I'm gonna try to replace the flex cable for the camera. I recently purchased this camera for Phantom 3 Advanced, and something wrong with it. It says that the gyroscope is given an error, so I'm gonna try to replace the cable because this one I've already replaced it once with a knockoff cable, and it's not working. So when I got this camera, the yaw bracket was broken. The flex cable was broken. So the camera came in two pieces. I bought a new one, and along with that, I also bought a cable, a flex cable, and it's still not working. At the beginning, it was working, and it was going like crazy so fast that it was throwing gimbal overload errors, and after that it just stopped. So now plugged in to the drone, it says that the gyroscope is malfunctioning. So yeah, so that's what we're gonna try to replace today. So let's get going. I have the new flex cable here. It's original from DJI. I have my my tools here. This is just a set I purchased on Amazon. I'm probably gonna leave a link in the description so you can get that one too. I purchased an X-Acto knife also, and this is just a piece of paper, A4 or letter, and whenever I take apart something that it's let's say complicated, I kind of like to have a diagram of parts and where the screws are going. This way I know exactly what screw goes where, and it's less likely for me to make a mistake. So taking my screwdriver over here, and there are 4 screws over here, as you can see, that we need to remove, and those screws take a Phillips. So I'm just gonna take these down, and as I said, so the way the camera is sitting over here, that's how I've drawn on the piece of paper. So I took this screw over here, so this is gonna go here. I'm taking the right one now, and as I said, put it over here. Okay, then we have to take these 2 screws off. And this is not as complicated as you might think. I've already done it about 4 times, and that's why I'm saying it's not that complicated. Initially, it was a little bit intimidating with all these parts, but as I said, if you have your diagram set up and you know exactly where each screw goes, it becomes easy. And the only issue that I had initially, it was with the flex cable, because where the camera goes, because over here, once you take this plastic cover off, the flex cable is wrapped around the camera arm about 2 times, and it's really tricky because, okay, so this one will come off, and this is where I'm just gonna leave it there. Okay, you have to take this off. Of course, mine was already taken off, so it's once you take it off, it's like this. So what I tend to do is taking my X-Acto knife and just prying these things. Okay, and then it slides out, and that's that. So, and slowly we're gonna pry this whole thing open, right? So the next thing is to take these 4 screws off, and that's what we will do next. So yeah, I was talking about the flex cable wrapping around twice over the arm of the camera itself, and that was tricky at the beginning because I wasn't sure which way to start installing the cable. If you start at the top of the gimbal, if you look the way it's supposed to be on the drone, so if you start from the top, you're putting these things first, then you go along the arm, you're plug it in this arm, and then you go down and then over here, and then when you reach to the camera, you have to wrap it around twice, but you have to wrap it in a way that the part that gets plugged in into the camera has to be underneath the cable. I mean, I'm probably not explaining it right, but once I get there, I'll show you what I'm talking about, and then I'll show you how I'm installing it. And I think it's a good way, because that way there's no stress on the cable itself. And I'm really happy that the screwdriver is magnetic, because it just caught the screw when it fell. So this it's a good kit to have. I think I paid like, I don't know, 14 bucks on Amazon for it, or something like that. I'll leave a link in the description so you can see it. So okay, so the reason why I didn't put it on the paper yet is because I'm gonna trace it now, and then I'll put the screws where they belong. Okay, so I have one here, one in the middle, and 2 over here. And I kind of like to put them head down, because this way they won't move. But this one is playing tricks with me. Whatever. All right. As long as they're in the correct position, so you can put them back the way they came out. Okay, so now this board comes to the side, and we have to unplug the flex cable. This is the motor, which we leave it the way it is. And then, if you can see over here, just prying open this one, the second one, so I can take off the, oops, okay, this is the bearing that came from over here. Okay, so yeah, you can take it off. That's why I put a circle over here, but I forgot about it now. So the flex cable came out, and then make sure you don't pull too hard, because you can damage the flex cable for the motor. And then put it back, and leave it pried open so you can insert the cable. And I'll show you how I did it in a second when I'll change the cable. And I think it's better than, I mean, I've seen some other people do it, and I didn't understand exactly how they would do it, but I found that this works better for me. Okay, so Now, as I said, we got to the part where we have to take, there are two screws. There is one over here and then one on the other side, if you can see it. So we have to take those two screws off, and for that I'll use the extension that came with the screwdriver. Okay, so that's one. And then the second one. Okay, and now this is just a plastic cover for the cable. So I'm just gonna leave it like that and then put the screws, one for the left, one for the right arm. Okay, there you go. So, okay, now in order to take this part off, this is the tricky part. You have to take this plate off, and we'll do it as long as I can find which one works. All right. So we'll take it off, these 4 screws. Again, for this, I'm not going to draw anything on the paper because I'll just use the plate as a template. Once the plate is off, I'll put the screws back where they belong and just leave it on the paper. But when I'm taking the screws off, I still put them in the order that I take them and the order that they're supposed to go. Okay, so now this plate is supposed to just come off. Okay, so as I said, this one goes in here. Okay. Trying to be fancy. Okay, there you have it. Okay, so this is how. So now I need to pry open this part so I can take this cable. And if you look closely, this cable comes underneath the wrapped cable. So it's really like, it's hard because you have to take this one off first, and if you take it off, this is what it'll look like. Okay, so you take this off, and then I'm gonna try to pull it up. Okay, pull it up, and if you see, you have to come around with it, like this way. Okay, and now, only now, I'm able to take this one off, this part over here. But in order to do that, I have to take off the screw over here. And then there are 3 screws along the motor that I have to take off to get here, plus this one too. So I've seen people like this one, they set it up over here and then they come around with it. They go once around and then they come back twice around, but you have to make sure that the cable, it's under. You see how complicated it is? It's under, and all the way has to be under this one, the second one, the second roll. And then you get here and it's a little bit tight, and you have to pluck it underneath and then put it over there. And I mean, it's so easy probably to damage this cable by just doing that. And what I found that works better in my case is to start from here, wrap it around. Well, actually, I'll show you. Okay, so let's take this screw off. Okay. And the camera slides off. Okay, we're gonna set it aside. And now we have access to these 3 screws that we have to take off. Okay, so 1, 2, and 3 at the bottom. Okay, and we have one more over here that you have to take out. We'll take this one out. Okay, and I'll put this one to the right. Now we are able to take the whole thing off. Okay, and be careful, there's another flex cable as this one has for the one of the motors. Okay, and gently pull it out. Okay, do you see the cable? That's the cable over there. Now all we have to do is pry open this one so we can pull the cable out. So this is the flex cable. This is actually the knockoff that I bought, and well, might have been the cable, or it might be that my camera is broken. So we'll see in a second which one is it. Okay, so I'm gonna just set this one aside, and I'm just gonna take the original cable out. Okay. Let's see what this is. Okay. So, as I said, okay. So now, as I said before, leave them pried open so you can insert the cable. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna put everything together, and once we have the cable in the slot, we're gonna push the locking mechanism. Well, I have these whatchamacallit, tweezers, that I'm gonna just push the locking mechanism with. Otherwise, it's so complicated to change the cable. So let's start with the camera first, as I said previously. So we take this off. That's the for the sticky part, and let's make sure that this is pried open. Okay, and now we insert the cable. All right. Okay, so make sure that the white line goes all the way in, and then you don't see any more the connections, and then you close it. Perfect. And now, where we remove the protection for the blue, just push it down, and then it'll have to come and kind of get glued over here. So it's, and you can just push it. Just make sure that it's glued correctly. Okay. And it's kind of centered because you don't want sticking out or being too close to the right side in this case. Once it's in the middle, and we'll have to wrap the whole thing like once. You don't want anything like being a little bit to the side because it's going to because it's gonna touch the other side, and there's gonna be friction involved, and once the gimbal motor senses that there's some kind of friction, it's gonna freak out, and it's not good. All right, so this part is set. Now we're gonna put the cover back on. Okay, where did it go? All right, so that's all set. Putting the screws back on. Try not to over tighten anything. Because you wouldn't want to damage the camera housing. It's probably a pain in the butt to change that, and we do not want that. Okay, now that we've taken this off, what we have to do now is put it back on, and as I mentioned before, leave the mechanism, the locking mechanism off. As you can see it here, leave this flap up, so when we insert the cable we can push and close it. Okay, so you want to leave it like this, and then put one screw here and then the other 3 screws over here. So let's start with now. You will have, if you can see, there's a little bit of a difference between these 2 screws. The one on the left, it's a little bit wider than the one on the right. The right one is the skinny one. So the skinny one is gonna go over here in the middle. The wider ones, we have 2 of those. They're gonna go on the bottom. All right. So making sure everything is secure. Okay. And don't forget about the one at the bottom of it. Okay, you have to be careful with this one. Okay, so now what I have to do is connect the camera. Okay, let's take the screw off first. Okay, so where the screw goes,
camera, make sure that you follow the picture at the curved part has to face up, the flat has to face the bottom, and just slide the camera facing up onto the shaft. Like I said, I made the mistake and put it upside down, and this is what happened. It starts going crazy on me, and it moves erratically, and I didn't know what happened, so I had to look online, post on a few forums, and somebody actually told me that the camera was aligned upside down.
And as you can see, it's right there. So now we're just gonna put in the screw. All right, perfect. And now you want to wrap this cable around one time and then 2 times, and this is how it's supposed to stay. And then this part it'll go over here, and then this one will go underneath, and then it'll get plugged in here. Okay, so at this point, I'm gonna have to take this thing off so we can set this in. Okay, so I'm just gonna plug it in, making sure that it went in all the way. Okay, and now with my tweezers, I'm just gonna go in and push so I can lock the cable in. Okay, and now the cable is secure. Now what we have to do is, let's put them off. Okay, take off the protection over here, and now we're gonna have to secure it. Okay, there you go. Okay, now I'm not pushing very hard on this, just trying to just apply a little bit of force so it glues up, it gets glued to the groove where it's supposed to go. Okay, so that part is set. Now what we have to do is come around underneath the camera and then try to pull a little bit on it so that it goes on the other side. And okay, I know it's a little bit messy, but just a little bit of patience and going slow. So I'm opening the mechanism to let the cable slide in. Okay, what we have to do here is align the shaft. Okay, align the shaft with, if you notice, it has a notch. It has to be aligned, otherwise it won't go. If it's not aligned, you can't fit it through. So you have to align the shaft with the notch. Once it's aligned, as you can see, everything it's moving perfect. This way, the board knows exactly which position the
Motor is.
It knows how to calibrate the gimbal and everything else. Okay, so as I said, now I'm gonna have to remove this part off of the sticky protection. Okay, and now we have to set up this cable. Okay. So this one, it's easier to plug in. Or so you think. Just align it. Okay. It's in. Now all you want to do is just lock it in. Okay. Now secure it. Make sure that the gimbal is in the correct position. Okay, and now we have to stick this. That looks good. All right. And let's close this off. All right. These are at the bottom. Finally, got this one going. Okay, now putting the middle one. Now, what I want to do is put this cover, and this one just slides on, and then you have to put the two screws, and again, I'm going to use the extension for it. Okay, and then on this side also. All right. Okay, and now the last thing we have to do is connect the flex cable. Okay, take the protection off, and now this is a little bit trickier because you have to kind of do them at the same time, and there you go. Let's see, let's try to put them on. Okay, so this is a little bit trickier, but got them. Have to be pushed a little bit more. So let's see. There you go, all secured. And now close the locking mechanism. All right. Now, don't forget about the bearing. Put the bearing in first. The bearing goes on top over here, and then the metal plate. Now, the metal plate comes on top, but make sure that this part of the ribbon sticks out through this hole, and then it has a glue on this side, so you can just glue it over here. So let's put the camera like this and try to slide it, and if you can see, the flex cable goes through this hole, which will get glued to, and try to align everything over the bearing, and then this one here, this one here, and then this one here. Okay, and everything is secure. Now you can just push this part of the flex cable to stick to the side of aluminum. All right, now we have to put these two screws in, one here, okay, and the second one over here. All right, and then let's take the screws off. All right, so it's easier if you don't have the screws in, because they can catch on this side, and then this just slides on perfectly. Make sure that nothing touches or all right. Everything moves freely, and now let's just put the screws back in. All right, so there you have it. This is how camera is supposed to stay once attached to the drone, so it can pivot up an extra 30 degrees horizontally and all the way down, left and right.
Program that I've used. You can take a picture if you want to, or just copy it. I'll leave the description for the toolbox, the X-Acto knife, the flex cable that I've used from DJI. And as always, thanks for watching. Please share, subscribe, and like.